is unity possible between the Dutch Reformed Church and the Uniting Reformed Church in Southern Africa, known by the acronyms DRC and URCSA. There are 5 R's involved in restorative justice, URCSA leader Professor Leepo Modise said. They stand for reality, as in facing it, responsibility, as in taking some, repentance, also in personal capacity, Modise explained, and reconciliation. But it's the 5th word starting with R that Modise emphasized with reference to the DRC's obligation to its sister church, which was formed 30 years ago.
If reconciliation is achieved, good luck. But if the 5th R is not actualized, then the reconciliation is cheap reconciliation. Then the 5th R is restitution. This is a practical way of facing the consequence of behavior. It is a way of demonstrating credibility of the words that we expressed when we make apology and express thankfulness for reconciliation. Reconciliation without other components of restorative justice is cheap reconciliation that leads to structural violence. Hence, it is important to sit around the table of Dutch Reformed Church, constantly reminding them of the unpaid and unsettled issues. Constantly remind them that we need to unite so that we must sit together in the same context, in the same space, identifying the needs of the poor, seeing the needs, touching the base, being as united church, not as satellites that are looking from far.
Another URCSA speaker tabled the topic of restitution. The Reverend Dr. Eugene Fortein was one of the guests at the event, which drew around 60 delegates, including visitors from Europe.
A very large part of the ecumenical church still benefits from the colonial era. And I'm not speaking about, we don't want charity. We want reparations. We want restitution. So, all the ecumenical church walk the same path as in South Africa, where we have opted for a cheap reconciliation, unescorted by restitution. The Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa, as the church that benefits the most from apartheid's colonial past, has done very little, and I dare to say nothing, to gear its members towards acts of restitution. Not charity, restitution.
Also in the audience was Dominee Jan Libbe, chairman of the General Synod of the DRC. During his time at the podium, Libbe spoke about his personal experience with the Confession of Bel-Har, which is central to URCSA. He also gave a more recent overview.
For us in the Dutch Reformed Church, the breakdown of our deliberations 2013 to 2015 about the Bel-Har Confession as part of our first article in our church order, it was a traumatic experience when that proposed inclusion of Bel-Har as part of our church order, when it was voted down.
Libbe referred to yet another word starting with R. In reaction to a question from the audience, he said this:
Have there been any changes? Yes and no. I'm sorry to say, and that's what I actually meant by using the word "I'm the first accused." There are a lot of racism in the Dutch Reformed Church, because there are also a lot of racism in our country. The ghost of apartheid and the ghost of racism is still haunting us in this country and in our churches. I'm sorry to say that, and I don't know how you cannot force it out. What is needed is a change of heart. And I remember in your paper you used the word metanoia, conversion.
This report was put together by Leroux Skuman for kerkbode.co.za.